When I started ballet as an adult, there were so many things that I thought I needed to do or needed to be before I could even do it. And as somebody who wasn't involved in the ballet world, there were so many facts and belief systems and myths that now, after 4 years of ballet, I'm starting to unlearn and reflect on. And some of those beliefs have really changed, and that's what we're going to get into today's video. The first thing I'm unlearning as an adult ballet dancer is that your turnout determines everything. Yes, turnout is so important in ballet. It's an aesthetic feature. It's mechanically used for ballet, but it's not everything. I'm still working on my turnout. I don't think anyone stops working on their turnout, but strength is so much more important. Strength gives you the ability to have control over your hips and also knowing where to find and activate your turnout. For so long, I really struggled to find the right place. And even now, I find it difficult to know where my turnout is coming from and if I can notice that. So more than having the turnout, it's about gaining control and strength over your turnout, whether it's this big or completely flat. As long as you understand what's going on, that's so much better than having the most flattest turnout in the entire world. The second thing I'm learning as an adult ballet dancer is that everyone is judging you. I think people feel this in other spaces as well, not just in the ballet class, but in the gym, in the work environment, in school. But when it comes to ballet, something you will slowly realize is that everyone is kind of focused on themselves. Even if you are the best dancer in the class or the worst dancer in the class. Yes, people may notice the amazing turns that you do or the fact that you can't even do a single pirouette. But at the end of the day, most people are focused on themselves. When there's mirrors around, people are most likely looking at their own body and trying to figure out what to improve, what to work on. So while it can be really scary to step into that ballet class and knowing that you may not be the best one in the room, or maybe you're the worst one in the room, I assure you, most of the people in that class are just focused on them. The third thing I'm learning as an adult ballet dancer is that my body isn't for ballet. Similar to like turnouts and all these things, there are so many other aesthetics of ballet that's fundamental to the art form, like having high arches and having your extensions reach your ears and being able to do all of these really amazing things like getting your middle splits, getting your front splits. And as somebody who has flat feet, has hypermobile knees, which makes ballet really hard, even if it gives me that aesthetic clean line, I can't really use it in that way. And I have been really trying to improve my extensions. There are a lot of limitations I have. The fact that I started ballet as an adult dancer as well, like there's a certain amount of flexibility that I don't have compared to younger dancers or people who did ballet for years in their youth. So while I notice that I have these limitations that make ballet more difficult for me, that doesn't mean I can't do ballet and that you shouldn't because of whatever situation you've got going on. The fourth thing I'm learning as an adult ballet dancer is that progress isn't linear. This is something I've spoken about before in previous videos, and I will keep coming back to this because I don't think it's just something that adult ballet dancers can relate to, but just ballet dancers in general. You will have a month or a few classes where your progress is really fast. It feels like you're learning everything. You're able to adapt it really well. And then you get to a period where things are really slow and stagnant. I know that for myself as an adult dancer, if I take time off on holiday or whatever, life gets in the way and I can't go to class for a week or two, that first day back, wow, it literally feels like my brain is being shocked by new information and I've forgotten how to do a tondo. But what I've learned is that it doesn't really matter how fast you progress. What matters is that you're being consistent. It's like, especially as an adult dancer, when you get to a point where you are comfortable with the basics and you're trying to get those bigger goals, which can be so hard to reach, the work really does come from the small consistency that we do, whether that's going to class, whether that's extra stretches, whether that's what you do outside of class. And then it kind of combines together and then boom, it kind of explodes. And now you can really see the difference. The difficulty is like staying within those periods where you're only getting the small wins and you're not able to see the end result so quickly. The fifth thing I'm learning as an adult ballet dancer is that you need to be thin to do ballet. This kind of comes back to what I was talking about, the aesthetics, not just from the arches and your feet and your extensions and your mobility, but also the physical aesthetic of what we think a ballet dancer typically looks like. And while there is room for people to say, look, an adult ballet dancer needs to look this way because of what the art demands from them, right? You're dancing hours at a time, multiple shows. There's a lot that goes into it physically. So, ballet is an athletic art form. You're going to look like an athlete. But that doesn't mean there is only one way to look like that. I want to clarify something because I don't think I explained myself very well. What I'm trying to say is I understand why there is a physical ideal when it comes to ballet for professional dancers or people who are working towards becoming a professional. Because at the end of the day, it is an art form as it is a sport, and athletes tend to have a specific physique depending on what field they're doing. Runners look a certain way, tennis players look a certain way, footballers look a certain way. What I'm trying to say is I understand why there is a preference for a certain look. My worry is when people who aren't in the professional space give themselves the same standard. You are not a professional athlete. You do not need to look like one in order to partake in the activity. That's as if like you're a huge fan of basketball, but you are 5'6", very short. That doesn't mean you have to increase your height or be limited by your height in order to enjoy it as a hobby. And of course, even for professional dancers, there's a limit as to what that physical ideal looks like. It's a balance of what looks good and feels good and what's too extreme that is compromising your physical health. So I just wanted to make that clear because I don't think I did it very well. It can be really hard when the only version of a ballet dancer you see is that really, really thin looking body. I'm wearing a leotard and I'm wearing a skirt and I'm looking in the mirror all throughout class, sometimes more than an hour. That can be really difficult when what you are doesn't align with what you think a ballet dancer should look like. But honestly, none of that truly matters when you've got the artistry, when you've got the technique, and when you've got the talent and the passion. And learning to appreciate what your body can do for ballet outside of its size is so much more important. The fact that you can do a plie, the fact that you are able to move and to jump is so much more valuable than whether or not you meet the Vaganova weight scale. Allegedly, because, I'm not trying to get in trouble. Especially as an adult dancer, we are not going to be professionals. We have absolutely no reason to be pressuring ourselves to fit these ideals when ballet is an important aspect of our lives. But again, it's not our profession. This is meant to be enjoyable as it is serious. So get up, wear your leotard, get your skirt, wear your warm-ups, or you don't even have to wear a classical ballet outfit. Wherever makes you feel comfortable, but you can still see your lines. And that is so much more important than all of the other noise that comes with ballet. The sixth thing that I'm still really struggling to unlearn is that higher extensions means a better dancer. I'm currently on a goal to increase my extensions from 90 degrees to whatever. I'm not even going to put a number because I don't really know what my limit is, but all I know is that I want to get above 90. So that's why I'm saying I'm still struggling with this, because while I know it doesn't make me a better dancer to have higher extensions, I still want to have higher extensions. Where I'd say my views have shifted is that instead of focusing solely on getting my legs to 180, which I don't even know is possible, I've really been trying to focus on strength and artistry with that extension. So thinking about my standing leg, thinking about what muscles do I need to activate to have that clean look. Because I think 90 degrees can look really chic and really beautiful if you are doing it properly. You can have your leg all the way up to your ears, but if you're shaky or turned in, your hip is compensating for a lot of the height, it doesn't really look that great. The seventh thing that I'm unlearning as an adult ballet dancer is that adult ballet has an expiration date. For a lot of people who return to ballet or started ballet as an adult, we're getting put off because we believe that it's only for children, it's only for people who started at a young age, and what's the point of doing it in your 20s, in your 30s, in your 40s, 50s, 60s even, when you are most likely never going to become a professional dancer. But throughout the 4 years as an adult ballet dancer, I've learned something truly invaluable, in that there are so many opportunities for you. Even if you aren't a child prodigy or you aren't going to be a professional dancer, within my limited time as an adult ballet dancer, I've taken ballet exams. I'm prepping for another ballet exam. I performed in Swan Lake. What else have I done? I performed in Romeo and Juliet. I've done so much that I didn't think was possible. And most importantly, I found a community of adult ballet dancers, which I didn't even know existed. So yes, the expiration date is a thing, not just for adult ballet dancers, but ballet dancers in general. There's only so much our body can take when it comes to such a demanding activity as ballet. But that doesn't mean all of the opportunities are no longer available for you. You kind of just have to start and see what's out there and see it for yourself. Because I know it can be really hard to think that there are things available for you when you are new to ballet. But I assure you, there are so many more opportunities. People are learning more and more about adult ballet. The community is only growing and more opportunities will come. I don't think unlearning these things means that I figured anything out. If anything, the longer I dance, the more I realize there's always something for me to learn. But I think what helps me to ground myself and come back to ballet is reminding myself it's not about becoming perfect, which is impossible. It's appreciating the little moments of progress along the way and enjoying the process a lot more than anticipating the outcome. So if you're an adult ballet dancer, I'd love to know what's something that you're unlearning throughout your journey. And if we can start the conversation about this, who knows where you might be helping somebody else with. Anyways, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video.